All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. Happy Friday. It's October the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the like button if you like these videos. Subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything tomorrow. Oh, excuse me, this weekend. I usually do it on Saturday or Sunday, depending. This weekend I post the recap of the week. So we recap our options trades, how the market's going, and we preview the next week. Would love to have you watch that video, get the information you need so you can trade the market next week, and then also learn from the mistakes that I've made or some of the triumphs that we've had over the week. And I will go over each of the trades that we did in the option side. Glad to be with you. Let's go ahead and go around the horn this morning. Dow futures up 117 points. NASDAQ up 14 after some overnight weakness. S&P 500 is green. 43.94 near the highs of the session. Russell 2000 futures as well. Highs of the session 1752 up 0.38%. 10-year treasury yields are down 4.92. Dollar index 106.42. That's down as well. Helping commodities. We're about to go over that. The volatility index is green, 1693 this morning, up 1.44%. Crude oil up 4%, 86.26. Gasoline futures up 3.21%, $2.23. Gold futures up this morning on a weaker dollar, 19.23, up 2%. Silver futures up 3%, 22.62. $3.58 for copper futures. That's relatively flat. Euro dollar 105.38, that's up 10 pips. Dollar yen is down 29 pips, right at that 150 level, the intervention level for the Bank of Japan supposedly. 149.50. Pound dollar 121.87, that's up 12 pips this morning. Bitcoin futures 27,000 on the futures side, even up nearly 1%. 1549 on Ethereum futures, up 1.41%. Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to go through is the live market blog. If you don't have access to the live market blog, make sure to hit the description box below. There's our website. Click on that. Click on free plan. Gets you access to our free live market blog. You will need the Discord app though to join. Glad to have you. We do have some earnings that came in. BlackRock beat $10.91 versus $8.53. Citibank beat $1.52 on adjusted EPS versus 1.26 or $1.26. JPM also beats $4.33 versus $3.89. Wells Fargo also beats $1.48 versus $1.25. These are all EPS estimates. If you want more details, they're all on here. Feel free to take a look at that team. Bond yields coming down this morning. We talked about. We saw how the futures were at 813 this morning. We got a nice bounce on the U.S. import price index, beating expectations, 0.1% versus 0.5%, but the export prices were actually up 0.7% versus 0.13%. That's higher on a month-over-month basis, 0.7%, but better than the previous reading. Export price index year over year, negative 4.1% versus the estimate of 4.4%. Excuse me. Boeing and Spirit Airlines, Spirit and Boeing expand inspections of the 737 MAX production defect. That's according to Reuters. Boeing's down 2.4%. Spirit Airlines down about 5%. Microsoft has closed its acquisition of video game publisher Activision Blizzard, officially making it the largest deal in its 48-year history. Congratulations to Microsoft and to Activision Blizzard. So Call of Duty will be now under the Microsoft flag. How cool. All right, let's go to the S&P 500 futures. We talked about this level yesterday, this level of zone of support. We held it pretty well. We did break down a little bit, but we were starting to bounce. So we're pretty much just hanging out here, still waiting for 44.36. Why 44.36 on ES? Because that is right above the 50-day moving average. We tagged the 100-day yesterday and reversed. So still got that resistance there. See if we break above that. Again, the deal is to stay above the 200-day as long as we can. Anything can happen, as we know, especially with weekend headlines over this weekend. We don't know. We did get some earnings that were positive. Let's take a look at some of them this morning and see which ones are doing well and which ones are not. So we're going to go to pre-market movers. Let's take a look at it. We're going to go to the S&P 500. That's where the banks are. Dow also has some banks, but the S&P has Citibank and Wells Fargo. So just waiting on this to load. A lot of media playing in the background, of course, always fun. Citibank up 3%, Wells Fargo up 3%, JP Morgan up nearly 2% this morning, Bank of America up nearly 1.82%. American Airlines down 1.16%, Tesla just went green, Amazon slightly green. So again, the banks running the show. Banks and energy are hot this morning. JP Morgan now 2%, excuse me. Boeing down, IBM is down. Chevron is up with energy up 1.48%. And the NASDAQ, let's take a look at it. JD.com down about 4.42%. Apple, we traded yesterday. We traded calls, and we also did Amazon calls, 132.56. Let's see if we get a little more. So the headline also said, is it time to buy yet? And the reason I talk about that is, did we hit a bottom? I still think we did, but not for sure yet, because we still have another week to go. We still have, no, excuse me, 2 more weeks to go until the end of the month. The idea is to get away from October or exit October above the 200-day. If we do that, I think we're going to be fine. But it's time. It's all about time. So imagine this. You're a stock equity bull. You're expecting stocks to go long. You guys are, let's say we're a football team. We're up about 10 points, 12, let's say 2 touchdowns. And we got about 5 minutes left. Right now, what we're trying to do is run out the clock. Run out the clock, take out any profits that we can in terms of options trading, anything that works for us, or futures trading. But as an investor, we're just waiting that time out. Let's wait for October, or if we finally break above the 50-day moving average and settle above it, 4,500 would be great. If we can do that, then the worst is absolutely over, at least for 2023. 2024 can get a little wild. It is an election year. So let's see what we get moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at NASDAQ futures. We did a signal last night on futures. I still have it open. I did not close it overnight. Starting to see possibly on the 1 hour a cup and handle, or you could say it's an inverse head and shoulders. Let's see if I can get this back. You could see inverse head and shoulders, or just a cup and handle, pull back, and then go higher. Got to get above 15.5, guys. That's kind of the level that I'm looking for, 15.5. I'm still long expecting a little more upside in the NASDAQ. Let's take a look here on what we did. We're going to go over the trading in terms of what we did yesterday on the video. So let me go ahead and take a look here. You could see we did trade Amazon and Apple. Apple, we had the 180 calls from this week. Those runners are in the money. We also did the 182.50 calls. We got 40%. They rallied a little higher to 64%. Amazon, we also caught. So let's see if we get above 182.34 on Apple. I've been talking about that on the chats. If we can, you can see this downward trend breaking out. We got to get above here. If we do, I want to target 185 calls. We do have a gap to fill at 189.45. We got on the 4 hour, we got some room up to 190. So again, I like Apple. If we can break 182.34, I'll target the 185 calls. Amazon, let's take a look here. We still have a gap to fill as well. Did we fill that gap? Nope, we didn't. We need to get above 135.07. If we do, we can always do the 140s or the 138s depending on the volume. So let's get above that level. We'll put 135.12. That's your gap fill. I think Apple is a little better of a setup, so I'm glad we took Amazon. Google has a little more room to go to 144.27. Let's take a look at the hourly. If you do break above these recent highs, 142.77, we could take a look at the 144 to 145 calls. Just going over tech because tech has the most volume, as we know, in terms of the options world. Tesla bouncing as well. Pre-market, as we talked about, bouncing off this trend line here. We still want this gap to fill at 289. I'm still waiting for 269.36 to break. Then I could take a look at the 280s. Microsoft just reported that deal closing. They're trading at 331.30. Get me above 333.69. Then I'll take a look at some longs, possibly target 340. So again, we got a lot of nice potential setups to look for continuation. The question is, do we get it today? And that's really all we can go by, is can we get it today? QQQ, same thing, waiting for this breakout here, see if we could target 380s, but again, I'd rather be in NASDAQ futures, still above that support zone here. Pulled back a little bit, but that was off that 100 weekly moving average, 100 daily moving average. The Russell did hit a death cross. That's 50 below the 200. You could see it here. So we definitely need a bounce as soon as possible. If not, Russell's going to continue to go lower. Remember, we had a golden cross on the dollar. We had a golden cross on crude oil, and those continue to go higher. So Russell needs to bounce quickly so we can undo this death cross. We need to get above 18 to 16 as soon as possible. The market cannot go higher if Russell pulls back. Then there's no bottom, because then the Russell, it would be weaker. We know how important small caps are. You would think small caps not a big deal. They are. You can't have too much concentration of just tech names, the same Magnificent Seven running the show. That is not sustainable. We need small caps to push. Energy being higher does help. Energy and banks are some of the biggest parts of the Russell 2000 small caps. So if we get there, then we can get a little bit of a push, but that remains to be seen. QQQ, let's take a look at the daily. You can see this nice downward trend line. We need to break above that. Let's see up 375. If we do, then we could take a look at the 380 calls. That would just get us back to August 31st levels. But we need to break out of this downward trend. If not, we just continue to slide over and over and over. Not the best, not optimal, as we know. So a great week so far on the option side. We're going to go over all of it this weekend in terms of each of the trading. Last week was tough. Not one of them. Everything is my fault. I always say, if I make a mistake, it's my fault. If we win, I give the credit. That's just how I do things. Google last week did not help because I closed too early, but the analysis was right. We played Google this week. So let's see what we get. 1 year ago, yesterday, we hit the bottom on the S&P 500 futures, if you guys remember. That was the 2022 lows after Powell, after inflation. Let's see if we continue up a little bit. In terms of the almanac, I was reading it this morning. It is a bullish day, the expectation. So let's see if we get to 44.36. Let's see if we get that next trek to 4,500. I can confidently say if we get above 4,500 S&P 500 futures and close above that, the worst is over. You know, that's pretty much it. That's what we need to go. And then up to 46.24 and 48.08 is the all-time high. We got about 2.5 months to get there. Why not? We know Q4 is strong. Good morning. Is oil going back to 100? That's the expectation from JPM. But the problem with oil is that it's so volatile and it's always based upon headlines. So it really depends on the Middle East and Iran and any kind of sanctions. 86.32 currently. We're back above that support. We're back above the 50. But guess what? We're still below the 20. Let's wait for that break here above the 20-day. And if we do, we'll play some longs. That's it. But in terms of 100, you got to get above $95 a barrel. That would, in my opinion, and settle above it. Settle above that. Then we can see if we get above 100. And 100 is a very psychologically big number, $100 a barrel. So I don't know if it's going to be an easy trek to get there. There's many moving parts, OPEC here and there, as we know, headlines. So we just got to wait and see. Lucky Bamboo, thanks for being on today. Fit Vibes Guru, thank you so much for being on this morning. I think that is about it for the day. It is Friday, so I'm ready for anything. I'm ready to fill some trades if we got some setups going. Glad the market is bouncing back. Let's see what we get. Maybe we get a couple for the road. We'll buy some contracts for next week if some of our alerts break out. We'll be patient. We'll see where we go, and we'll always look out for you guys. Hey, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being on the channel. Make sure to hit the like button if you like these videos. Again, guys, thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow or this weekend, depending. I do have some family over on Saturday. We'll see what we get. Maybe I'll get some time to knock it out. If not, Sunday morning. Appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you this weekend. We'll talk about the market. We'll talk about the week. We'll preview next week. So many good things to come. Let's go ahead and get through October, guys, so we can really have a Merry Christmas and stock soar. That's what we're looking for. Appreciate y'all. Is Snap a buy? No. No, unless it's absolutely a trade. I'd rather trade options on it than trade the stock. Let's just say this. If TikTok was a publicly traded company, I'd rather own them than Snap. I think Metaverse is a better stock to own than Snap, as we know in terms of social media. Twitter's not public anymore, but if you kind of want a Twitter proxy, I guess you can go ahead and buy Twitter, buy Tesla. There is a gap to fill on Snap, $12.32. So if you bought it here and you wanted to just play it up to that, you can kind of swing it, but I'd wait a little more. I would wait above this, $10.59 for calls if there's some unusual options activity or high volume, and I would target the gap fill at $12.35. Not a big deal. So I wouldn't buy the stock, but I would trade it if we get the alert that we're looking for. Appreciate y'all. Have a great one. Thank you, J Pro, for the comments. Thank you, Gavin, for the questions. Santiago, Envy, Fit Vibes Guru, and Lucky Bamboo. Appreciate y'all, as always, joining me this morning. I know you guys have a busy day. I know everyone has life to live, but for you guys to take the time to join me this morning means the world. Again, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy Friday the 13th. Stay lucky, not unlucky, and we'll see you tomorrow or Sunday for the weekend recap for the trades that we did and previewing the next week. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Cheers.